The storm never truly ended on Astron 4. It only shifted, sometimes a violet haze trembling over the mountains, sometimes a low hum that made metal ache, sometimes a silence so absolute it felt like being sealed inside memory. Commander Rian Solis had come to prefer the silence. At least silence didn't lie. He sat alone in the cockpit of the Nader, boots on the dash, the starlight reflecting off 2-week-old stubble. The ship groaned around him, a sound halfway between a complaint and a sigh appropriate, given its owner. Ryan poked at the cracked display with a stylus. "Don't start with me," he muttered. The ship answered with a soft whine. "That's what I thought." Ryan wasn't a hero anymore. Maybe he never had been. 5 years since the collapse of the Meridian Line, 3 years since the mission that left half his squad missing, and 22 months since he'd stopped pretending the galaxy still wanted him. People said time healed. Time was a liar. He was mid-sip of a lukewarm drink that claimed to be coffee when the console flickered, just once. Then again, sharper, deliberate, the ship's AI Lyra chimed in. "Unregistered frequency detected," she said. Ryan frowned. "Source. Processing unknown. Format predates modern coding, approximately 13 to 15 years old." "That's impossible." The data cracked across the speaker in broken tones, hollow, distorted, drenched in static. Ryan leaned forward, instinct tightening his chest like a wire. Lyra adjusted the channel. The distortion melted into a thin, wavering melody. A lullaby Ryan knew. His spine went rigid. "Lyra, isolate that." "Attempting. The audio contains layered harmonic encryption." "Decrypt it." "I already am." "It's singing to someone." Ryan swallowed hard, fingers cold despite the heat vents. That melody had haunted the edges of memory for years. An echo from the wreckage of the Zariel incident, the last mission before everything fell apart. He remembered the burning sky, the collapsing platforms, the twin girls screaming for their mother as the evacuation alarms shrieked, and above it all the Queen's voice. Valera's lullaby. Ryan had thought it a phantom. A dream trauma had carved into his brain. But this wasn't a dream. The signal was real, old, cracked, but undeniably alive. Lyra's voice softened. "Commander, this frequency includes a Royal Zorathan identifier." Ryan felt the world tilt. "Which one?" "Designation, Valera XII. Status, presumed deceased." Presumed, but never confirmed. Ryan closed his eyes. For 15 years, the galaxy had mourned a queen and buried her children in silence. He hadn't forgotten. He couldn't. He still saw their faces, the sisters clutching each other as the blast doors sealed. And the moment he realized he was too far away to help, he'd lived with that guilt like a second heartbeat. And now this. The lullaby crackled again, softer, as though sung from a cold place between stars. Lyra whispered, "I am detecting sublayer codes. Someone embedded coordinates into the harmonic structure. This message was meant to be found." Ryan's voice came out low. "By who?" "By the only person still carrying its signature imprint." Ryan froze. "Me." "Yes." He sat motionless. The storm outside pulsed blue against the viewport, trembling like a waiting breath. The universe didn't send second chances. It barely offered first ones. Yet here it was, humming through his ship, a voice from a dead queen, a call from the past that refused to stay buried. Lyra chimed quietly. "There's more." The message uses a familial encryption branch. It was not merely a distress beacon. What was it? A call to her daughters, and a plea for anyone who still remembers them. Ryan stood abruptly, the chair groaning behind him. "Prep the engines," he said. "For what destination?" "The coordinates embedded in the signal." Lyra hesitated. "Commander, the location is inside an uncharted section of the Veil Corridor. That region has no surviving exploration records, no navigational maps, no return paths logged." "I know. Entering willingly is statistically." "Lyra, yes." The Veil Corridor was not a place ships entered willingly. It stretched across space like a wound, dark, twisting, full of gravitational distortions that swallowed entire fleets without so much as a ripple. Yet the Nader slipped through its first threshold with an almost reverent quiet, as if the stars themselves had gone still to watch Rian Solis return to the past he tried so hard to bury. Lyra dimmed the cabin lights. "Telemetry unstable," she warned. "When is it ever stable?" Ryan murmured. "Statistically, never." "That's what I thought." The ship rattled as a compression wave folded space around them. Outside, long tendrils of light curled like spectral vines, slow, drifting, hungry. The ancient signal pulsed through the cockpit again, that same fragile lullaby echoing through metallic bones. Lyra, give me a full spectral overlay. A map blossomed across the hollow display, fractured, incomplete, but unmistakably pointing toward a star system nested in the far end of the corridor. Rian exhaled slowly. So this is where she hid them. Asterin 4's storms, the ruined palace, the screaming children, none of it had prepared him for the idea that the twins might have survived. Kale and Myra, those were their names. One fierce, one gentle. One gripping a broken rail like a weapon. The other clinging to her sister's arm. He remembered them vividly, though he had only seen them for seconds. Seconds were enough to scar a lifetime. The coordinates flickered. Lyra's voice sharpened. Commander, incoming anomaly. Large, organic, and following us. Organic. Yes, pulsing with bioluminescent signatures. Like what? Like something that evolved here, inside the veil. Rian clenched his jaw. Push engines to 60%. No higher, we don't want to wake whatever that is. He guided the ship through a narrow channel between two gravitational shears, each distortion shimmering like glass dipped in fire. The nadir glided, barely missing the fold. Behind them, something drifted into view, massive, translucent, shaped like a manta ray made of living aurora. Its wings rippled with gentle pulses of blue. It wasn't chasing them. It was watching, Lyra whispered. It recognizes the signal. Rian glanced at it through the viewport. Or the girls. Possibly both. They left the creature behind as they crossed the final barrier, descending into a region where stars dimmed to a copper glow. The target planet appeared as a dark orb wrapped in bioluminescent cloud streams, green, gold, and violet, shifting like the heartbeat of a sleeping titan. Lyra, Rian said slowly, scan for settlement ruins. Scanning, multiple structures detected, crashed vessel fragments, energy signatures faint but present. Anyone alive? 2 life forms, humanoid, approximately 15 years of age. Rian's breath caught, put them on screen. 2 signatures appeared, standing near a crude shelter built from ship plating and resin-like materials grown from the forest. But even through the static, their posture was unmistakable. One tall, stance steady, grip tight around a makeshift spear, the other seated calmer, watching the sky with quiet curiosity. Kale and Myra. Alive, Rian closed his eyes. 15 years lost, 15 years stolen, yet they were here. Lyra spoke softly, almost gently. They built a life against all probability. Prepare the landing shuttle, Rian said. His voice trembled only slightly. I'm going down there. The descent was ugly. The forest canopy snapped at the shuttle like claws, and the ground greeted him with a thud that jarred his teeth. Rian unstrapped, steadying himself as the engines cooled with hissing exhaustion. The air outside shimmered faintly, thick with spores that glowed like drifting fireflies. He stepped out. The planet hummed. The forest shifted with a sentient curiosity, branches bending slightly toward him, leaves tilting as though scenting something familiar. Rian kept one hand near his holster, not for aggression, for reassurance. A sound cracked behind him. Rian spun just as a plasma bolt sizzled past his shoulder and burned a mark into the shuttle hull. He dove behind a tree that pulsed with blue veins, bark warm beneath his fingers. Another voice, sharp, commanding, "Identify yourself." Rian swallowed, lifted his empty hands, and spoke clearly. "My name is Rian Solis. I'm not your enemy." A figure stepped into view, spear raised, eyes blazing with suspicion. Kale. She looked almost exactly like the child he remembered, only taller, sharper, carved by survival. Her hair was braided with metallic fragments. Her posture was pure wariness. "You entered our sanctuary," she said. "Yes." "Why?" "Because I've come to bring you home." The second figure emerged, gentler, wide-eyed Myra. She studied him with a softness that hit Rian like a punch. The same eyes she'd had as a child, the same quiet empathy. Myra tilted her head. "You know our song." Rian's throat tightened. "Yes," he whispered. "Your mother sang it." Kale's spear point quivered, not lowering but no longer steady. "You speak lies." "I was there," Rian said, voice raw. "On the day the palace fell, I saw you separated. I saw her searching for you until the blast doors sealed." Silence crackled between them. Myra's voice trembled. "Is she alive?" Rian met her eyes. "I don't know, but she left a signal, a trail, and I think she wanted you to find it." Kale's breath hitched, not fear, but something more dangerous, hope. Night fell quickly on the ember veil, but the darkness wasn't empty. Bioluminescent spores drifted between the trees like suspended embers. painting the forest in shades of silver and gold. Rian, Kale, and Myra walked carefully beneath the canopy, the sisters leading him toward their shelter. Kale kept glancing back at him, jaw tight, spear ready. "You step out of line," she said. "I will remove one of your legs." "Only one?" Rian asked. Myra elbowed her. "He's helping us." Kale hissed, "Help until proven otherwise." Rian hid a smile. Kale's aggression wasn't personal. It was the armor she'd built over 15 years of surviving a world that didn't want her. Myra, however, watched him like someone evaluating not danger but possibility. Their shelter sat in a ridge carved by the remains of an escape pod. Half-cracked metal, woven vines, panels repurposed into tables and walls. It smelled faintly of ozone and something floral. "This is impressive," Rian whispered. Myra brightened. "We built it from what survived the crash." "And what didn't?" Kale answered bluntly. "We buried." Rian felt that. Inside, a dim blue crystal pulsed on a console, part machine, part grown. Myra ran a careful finger along its surface. "We call it the echo node. It sings sometimes." "Sings?" Yes, Myra looked at him, like Mother did. The node flickered almost shyly, as if acknowledging the mention. Rian stepped close. "Lyra, link with the node's spectrum." Lyra's voice hummed quietly through his earpiece. "This technology is old, older than the Zorathan diaspora. Organic cybernetic hybrid, fascinating." Kale frowned. "You talk to yourself." "AI," Rian said. "She watches my back." Myra smiled. "We used to have one, it broke." The sisters exchanged a look, one of silent grief, the kind shared only by those who have survived long enough to lose things more than once. Rian knelt beside the node. "What does it show you?" Myra's eyes softened. "Dreams, memories. Sometimes coordinates. But the last message appeared when the lullaby played." "You recorded it." Kale nodded and activated the panel. A projection burst upward, faint stars, old star maps, and then Valera's voice, soft as a breath. "My daughters, if you live, follow the resonance. I have left fragments of my path in the places where light bends." Rian felt the air leave his lungs. The Queen had encoded a trail, a breadcrumb path scattered across hidden zones. "Lyra." He murmured. "I see it," she replied. "There are harmonic inflections embedded in the message. They correspond to old fleet roots, but something else is layered in biological resonance." Myra leaned closer. "Biological." Lyra hesitated. "The signal responds to you, both of you." Rian watched the sisters. Myra's breath catching, Kale swallowing hard. Their identities suddenly becoming keys to a galaxy-wide cipher neither of them asked for. The node pulsed again, brighter. Kale stepped back. "It's reacting." "To what?" Rian asked. Myra whispered, "Hope." A beat of silence. Then the node erupted, light spiraling, glyphs blooming, the forest outside trembling in response. The projection contorted into a star chart none of them recognized. A fractured moon, a broken fortress, a glyph meaning hidden by necessity. Rian felt his pulse quicken. "That's not a sanctuary," he said. "It's a vault." Myra's voice trembled. "A vault for what?" "For something she didn't want falling into the wrong hands." Lyra interjected. "Commander, I am detecting long-range interference approaching the planet. It is not natural." Rian's eyes sharpened. "Show me." A second projection formed over the first. A dark, angular vessel gliding through the Veil corridor, silent, predatory. Kale's breath stilled. "Karak Patrol." Myra's face paled. "They found us." Rian stood sharply. "How often?" "Never," Kale spat. "This place is hidden, forbidden, a graveyard." "And now?" "They're coming straight here." Myra turned to him, voice small. "Is it your fault?" Rian didn't flinch. "If I triggered anything, it's because someone wanted me to. But that ship was coming before I arrived. Look at the trajectory." Lyra confirmed it. The vessel was tracking the Queen's signal. "Their attention was not on you, Commander, only what the girls carry." Myra hugged her arms. Kale's fingers tightened around her spear until her knuckles whitened. Rian knelt between them. "Listen to me. You've survived 15 years on a planet that eats starships. You can survive this, but you can't do it alone." Kale locked eyes with him, searching for weakness. "What do you want from us?" "Nothing," his voice cracked with quiet conviction. "But I made a promise the day your mother sent you to the evac bay. I promised to keep looking, even when the galaxy stopped." Myra's expression softened first. Kale's softened second, barely but enough. The echo node chimed, one pure, clear tone that filled the room like a held breath. Then the star map solidified. A path, roads of light between the corridor fractures, and at the center, a symbol glowing faintly, a crown wrapped in starlight. Myra whispered, "Mother is alive." Rian answered quietly, "Or she left this for the day you were." The first probe fell through the clouds like a shard of burning metal, trailing sparks that lit the night sky. Rian barely had time to throw himself behind the curve of the wrecked escape pod before the shockwave rippled through the clearing. Leaves burst upward in a ring of blue light. The forest hissed, alive, agitated, Kale cursed under her breath. "They're scanning for heat signatures if they find this shelter." "They will," Rian said. "That's why we're not staying." Myra clutched the echo node, its faint lavender glow pulsing faster as if aware of the danger. "It's reacting again," she whispered. "To the probes." "No, to something else." Another boom. A second probe slammed into the ridge above them, firing a lattice of red beams across the canopy. Each beam analyzed everything it touched: soil, spores, stone, movement. "You too," Rian snapped. "Inside the shuttle now." Kale glared. "We don't take orders from strangers." "You do when strangers are the only reason you won't get atomized." For 2 seconds, Kale looked ready to argue. Then another probe shrieked through the trees, closer this time, and she grabbed Myra's arm. They ran, the shuttle's hatch hissed open just as Rian slid inside, slamming his palm against the ignition. The console flickered, struggling. "Lyra," he said sharply, "I need immediate lift." "Working on it," she replied. "Engines are clogging with particulate spores, attempting purge. I don't care if they cough dust for an hour, get us off the ground." The sisters strapped in behind him. Kale's knuckles were white on her seat harness. Myra held the node tight against her chest, as though it were a heartbeat she couldn't afford to lose. Outside, the probes converged. 3 beams locked onto the shuttle hull. Lyra's voice cut through the rising alarm. "Commander, they've marked us. Then we leave before they tell the rest of the ship." The engines roared, stuttered, then finally caught. The shuttle launched upward through the glowing branches, scraping bark and metal in a cascade of sparks. A beam fired, narrowly missing the port wing. Kale shouted, "They're still tracking." "They won't for long," Rian muttered. "Lyra, deploy scatter cloud." "Already anticipating that order," she said. A burst of microreflective particles detonated behind them, turning their heat signature into a dozen false trails. The probes jittered, confused, but one followed. A sleek, needle-shaped drone shot through the cloud, engines whining like a predator. Kale's eyes widened. "That's not a probe." "No," Rian said grimly. "That's a hunter." The drone fired. The shuttle lurched sideways as an energy bolt grazed the rear stabilizer. Warning lights strobed across the cockpit. "Lyra," Rian barked, "give me full manual control." "Transferring." He yanked the throttle, plunging the shuttle downward into a spiraling canyon of bioluminescent cliffs. The drone followed, daylight fast and merciless. Kale stared at him in disbelief. "You're diving." "Yes, into uncharted terrain." "Yes, that is suicidal." Rian grinned tightly. "Only if we hit something." Myra squeaked softly. The canyon walls tightened around them, curving, twisting, glowing with living veins of green and gold. The shuttle scraped dangerously close to one wall, vibrating from the proximity. The drone remained inches behind them. Lyra warned, "Commander, if you descend further, the canyon geometry becomes unpredictable." "Meaning?" "Meaning it may rearrange itself." "Of course it does." A sudden pulse from the echo node filled the cabin, soft, harmonic, insistent. Myra gasped. "It's pointing somewhere." "Pointing," Rian said. "Pointing where?" "There." She held the crystal up. Its glow bent toward a narrow fissure in the canyon wall, almost invisible, barely wide enough for the shuttle. Rian blinked. "You want me to fly into that?" "Yes," Myra whispered. Kale snapped, "Are you insane?" "No," Myra said. "Mother encoded this place. That path is real." Rian hesitated, one heartbeat, then pulled the shuttle's nose toward the fissure. The drone accelerated, preparing its kill shot. Lyra shouted, "Impact imminent." "Hang on." Rian roared. He rammed the shuttle into the fissure. For a breathless moment, the world became crushing stone, too tight, too bright, too fast. The hull screeched as rock scraped past. Something gave way. They burst out into a cavern of impossible scale, an underground cathedral of silver roots and crystalline pillars. The drone tried to follow, and was ripped apart by a sudden distortion field that collapsed behind them like a closing throat. Silence heavy sacred, the shuttle drifted to a hover. Myra staggered to the viewport. "Where are we?" She breathed. Lyra scanned. Her voice came out hushed. Commander, this isn't natural. Rian frowned, artificial. No, not exactly, it's grown. Kale whispered with an almost childlike awe. Mother always said the old dynasty hid things in living architecture. Sanctuaries made from shaped roots and woven crystal. Myra turned toward the cavern's center. Rian followed her gaze. There, half buried in luminous vines, stood an ancient obelisk covered in royal sigils. At its apex, a symbol glowed faintly, the crown wrapped in starlight. Myra stepped closer, voice trembling. "This is a beacon," she said, "a message storage vault." Kale asked, "Does it still work?" Myra touched the obelisk gently. It lit up. A projection burst to life, faded, fractured, but unmistakably her. Queen Valera. Her face was older than the last time Rian saw her, but alive. Alive. Her holographic eyes scanned the room as though seeing across time. "My daughters," she began, voice steady but weary. "If you stand here, then the universe has not taken everything from us." Kale staggered. Myra covered her mouth. Valera continued, "You must not return to the palace. You must not trust the Dominion. And above all, you must not let the Karak find you. They hunt our bloodline." Ryan's stomach dropped. Valera's voice lowered. "I left you a path. Follow the vaults, follow the light. And find me at the place where the stars bend themselves into a circle." The message glitched, distorted, then her last words cut through the static. "Someone is coming." The projection shattered. The cavern dimmed. Lyra spoke, voice brittle. "Commander, I detect a new signature." The cavern shuddered as the Karak flagship broke through the upper atmosphere, its engines rumbling through the stone like the growl of something ancient and hungry. Dust rained from the ceiling. The obelisk flickered, its last echoes of Valera's voice dissolving into fractured sparks. Rian didn't wait for the tremor to settle. "We're leaving now." Kale was already strapping Myra into her seat aboard the shuttle. "Did she say how many vaults there are?" she demanded. "No," Rian said, sealing the hatch, "but whatever's left, it's not here." Lyra's voice sharpened through the comms. "Commander, the flagship is deploying atmospheric thrusters. They are scanning for exit signatures. We have approximately 18 seconds before they triangulate this cavern." Rian muttered, "They're fast today." "They are motivated," Lyra replied dryly. A beam of molten energy speared through the upper rock layers, lighting the cavern in a burst of blinding gold. Myra yelped. Kale swore. Rian slammed into the pilot's seat and threw the shuttle into lift. "Lyra," he barked, "get me a path." "There is no clean path. There never is." Calculating dirty path. The shuttle blasted upward, weaving between crystal pillars. The cavern walls began collapsing behind them as the flagship's gravity beam tore the structure apart, pulling vines and stone into spirals of metallic dust. Kale shouted over the alarms, "They're tearing the whole moon apart." "Not before we steal something important from it," Rian said. The fissure they'd entered through was already folding shut, as if the planet itself was panicking. The shuttle shot through the narrow gap with centimeters to spare before the canyon swallowed the exit behind them. But they weren't safe. Not even close. Above them, the Karak flagship loomed, dark metal and jagged architecture stretching across the sky like a shadow trying to eclipse the stars. It fired, a shockwave ripped through the air, sending the shuttle spinning. Rian fought the controls, bracing his arms hard enough to bruise. Lyra shouted, "Commander, we have engine destabilization." "No kidding." Myra cried out as the shuttle tilted. Kale held her steady, eyes blazing. "Hold it together, human." "I'm trying," Rian snapped. "Tell the moon to stop trying to kill us." Another blast shook the air. But instead of collapsing, the sky lit up. A pattern, no, a formation, glimmered through the clouds, 5 stars bending into a perfect arc, shimmering as though responding to some unseen call. Myra gasped. "Rian, look." He did, and his blood ran cold. The 5-star arc. The shape, the exact pattern Valera's message referenced, where the stars bend themselves into a circle. But that wasn't a destination. It was a signal, a trigger. Myra clutched the echo node and it pulsed in sync with the stellar arc outside. "Kale," she whispered, "the vault wasn't just a message, it unlocked something." Kale frowned. "Unlocked what?" The answer came immediately. The air erupted in a soft vibration, a harmonic tremor that shook the shuttle but didn't damage it. A pulse of light rippled across the sky, scattering the Karak scans. The flagship flickered in and out of clarity as its tracking systems glitched. Lyra sounded stunned. "Commander, I don't know how to say this politely, but reality just folded." "What?" The stars moved. The arc of 5 stars bent further, curving, linking, shimmering. until they formed a full circle in the night sky. A celestial ring, a doorway. Rian stared. That's not possible. Myra whispered, Mother did this. Kale murmured, or she left the path for when we were ready. The Karak flagship regained clarity, just in time to see the impossible happen. The circle of stars widened, space stretching like a luminous wound, and inside it a corridor appeared, a swirling tunnel of light, not hyperspace, not any known warp signature. Something ancient, something royal. Something meant only for them. Lyra trembled through the speakers. Commander, that's a starfold. Ryan's heart hammered. Those are myths. They were, Lyra said, until now. The Karak flagship fired at the ring, massive beams of energy lancing across the sky. But the ring absorbed them, bending the blasts like reeds turning in wind. Myra pressed her forehead to the echo node. Ryan, this is the path. Kale raised her spear slightly, voice trembling, not with fear but awe. Mother built a road through the stars. Ryan didn't hesitate. He angled the shuttle toward the starfold. The Karak flagship launched interceptors. Lyra screamed warnings. Myra gripped the node. Kale braced. The starfold pulsed like a living heartbeat. And Ryan whispered, Hold on. The shuttle plunged forward, straight into the circle of stars. The universe expanded, folded, shattered, reformed, then. Silence, light. And ahead of them, suspended in the endless dark, a structure floated like a crown forged from galaxies. A station built from shimmering crystalline arcs and gold-veined alloy. Kale's voice cracked. What is that? Myra breathed the answer, Mother's Sanctuary. But before Ryan could speak, every console in the shuttle flashed red. Lyra's voice trembled. Commander, something is already inside the sanctuary. Ryan stiffened. What kind of something? Lyra answered, alive. A beat. The starfold sealed behind them with a soft hum, leaving only silence and starlight. Ahead hovered the sanctuary, an impossible structure woven from threads of gold, starlit crystal, and drifting energy arcs that moved like slow, celestial tides. It wasn't built, it was grown, the way a crown might form around a planet if the universe decided to wear jewelry. Ryan slowed the shuttle as they approached the outer ring. Lyra whispered, Commander, atmospheric readings are stable. Gravity is artificial, and something is interfacing with our ship. Kale gripped her spear. Interfacing how? Politely, Lyra said, but insistently. The hangar doors opened without Ryan touching a single control. Myra pressed a hand to her chest. It feels like someone is calling us. Ryan didn't like the wording. Calls were rarely gentle. He set the shuttle down. The moment the engines powered off, a warm, resonant pulse rippled through the docking bay, like the sanctuary was greeting them. Kale whispered, This place remembers us. They stepped out onto a luminous floor that glowed faintly beneath their boots. Veins of gold ran through the structure like rivers of captured dawn. Myra held the echo node. It pulsed in perfect rhythm with the station. Ryan stayed slightly ahead, hand near his sidearm, not out of aggression but instinct. He de-walked into too many ambushes in his lifetime, and surprises rarely involved cake. Lyra's voice spoke softly in his earpiece. Commander, whatever is here, it's not hostile. How can you tell? There is warmth, recognition, almost as if the station is relieved. Relieved stations were also new to him. A doorway unfurled before them, petals of crystal folding open to reveal a long corridor lined with floating glyphs. Myra reached out, fingertips brushing one. The glyph bloomed like a flower, emitting a soft chime. She made this for us, Myra whispered. Kale's eyes softened. For when we were old enough to understand. The corridor led them into a central chamber. Vast, domed, shimmering with mist and golden strands of energy suspended midair. And in the center, a figure stood with her back to them. Tall, regal, cloaked in fabrics that shimmered like woven galaxies. Valera, Ryan froze, his lungs forgot their purpose. The sisters stood speechless, Myra trembling, Kale gripping her spear as if afraid her knees might give out. Valera turned. Her face was tired but unbroken, carved with years of survival and fierce determination. Her eyes, deep violet, glowed softly as they fell on her daughters. For a moment she didn't breathe, neither did they, then. Myra ran. Valera caught her in an embrace that broke 15 years of silence in a single heartbeat. Myra sobbed into her mother's shoulder, fingers clinging desperately. Kale didn't move at first. Her spear wavered. Her eyes blinked rapidly. Emotion she'd buried for years cracked through her armor like light through stone. Valera opened her other arm. Kale, she whispered, my fierce star. Kale fell into her mother's embrace, shoulders shaking without a sound. Valera held them both tightly, pressing her forehead to theirs. My daughters, you survived. You lived, you. Her voice broke. Rian looked away to give them the privacy the galaxy never had. But Valera wasn't done. When the sisters finally loosened their hold, Valera lifted her gaze, meeting Rian's. You, she said softly, kept searching. Rian straightened, unsure what to do with the unexpected weight in her voice. I only followed the signal. No, Valera stepped forward. You followed hope, even when the galaxy abandoned it. Her eyes softened. Kneel, Commander. Rian stared. Sorry what? Kale snorted. Mother. Myra giggled softly. He is uncomfortable. Valera smiled gently. Then I will not make him kneel. She approached him instead, resting her palm over her heart, a gesture of deep royal gratitude. I am alive because my daughters lived long enough to find me, and they lived because someone refused to let memory die. Rian swallowed. I wasn't the only one who fought for them. No, Valera said, but you were the only one who came back. A long silence followed. Then the lights in the chamber flickered. Lyra's voice cut sharply through Rian's earpiece. Commander Karak flagship has located the Starfold entry. They're forcing it open. Valera's expression tightened. They will not stop. They want the royal line extinguished. Kale lifted her spear. Let them come. Valera shook her head. No, this sanctuary is not a battleground. Myra turned to Rian, fear returning. What do we do? Rian stepped forward, jaw set. We leave, he said, together, and we lead them away from here. Valera studied him, measuring courage, scars, and something deeper. She nodded. The Starfold can open a single path, she said. One destination only, not anywhere. Where then? Rian asked. Valera raised a hand. In the center of the room, the energy strands wove themselves into a star map, one point glowing brighter than all the others. A system at the edge of human space. Rian blinked. That's near Earth. Valera nodded. A safe zone neither Dominion nor Karak can breach. Without starting a war they cannot win. Kale frowned. Why there? Because, Valera said quietly, your father was human. Silence detonated through the room. Myra's eyes widened. Kale's hand trembled around her spear. Rian's breath caught. Valera continued, voice trembling. He never knew you lived, but he must know now. The sanctuary shook hard. Lyra shouted. Commander, Karak vessels emerging. We must jump immediately. Valera placed a hand on each daughter's cheek. You will return, but first you must survive. She turned to Rian. Take them home. Rian nodded once. I will. The Starfold circle ignited, brilliant gold alive. The sanctuary doors unfurled like wings. The shuttle powered on. Kale and Myra climbed aboard, gripping each other. Rian took the pilot's seat. Valera watched from the dock, regal even in urgency. As the shuttle lifted, Myra cried out. Mother, come with us. Valera smiled, gentle, heartbreaking. I will join you when the galaxy is safe. Go. Kale whispered, Mother. Rian's voice softened. She'll find us. Valera held a hand to her heart. The shuttle surged into the Starfold, light swallowing everything. In the last instant before the universe